Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm popping on just to show you quickly, hopefully quickly, how to make balloon flowers. If Jessica was asking me how to make them, I thought, oh, well, I'll just show you. It's very quick. Basically, you need something. I'm using some 300 GSM card. You would probably do it on mixed media paper, but I'm going to show you can do it on card. I've got some cheaper watercolour paper which I've used as well this morning just to have a quick play. You need some acrylic paint and a balloon, but you don't have to do it with the balloon. I'm pretty certain Betsy Doodle, and she's the person I generally watch, she makes them either with her fingers or paintbrush. You don't have to use a balloon at all. I'm pretty certain it was Mag's Waste Some Time with Maggie who showed me with a balloon, but I might be wrong. And Antonio's just in a video with using them as well. So it just reminded me, and I thought, oh yeah, I'll have a go at that. So if you're using a balloon, it doesn't matter what type of balloon you've got at all. I've got some here. I saw them in Tesco's. They've got little spots on. I thought, oh, they'll be good. And actually, they do give some texture sometimes. So bear with me while I attempt to blow this thing up. Right, I'm not going to put too much air in it. I made that mistake with the first one. Apologies if you hate balloons. I don't like them, but I'm pretty certain I can cope with this just to tie a knot in it. Ugh. Right, there we go. So it's not too. It depends how you want it. I think that if it's really big, I did this one originally, and it was there was too much air in it, and it was too flat and round at the end. So I put some sellotape on it and put a pin in it. It doesn't bang and pop if you do that, and you can let out as much air as you want. And then I just stuck another bit of tape over the top of that. So that's something you could do. This one's got a very slightly pointed bit, which will be fine for what we want. Next, you need to choose your colours. You don't want to have anything that is, sorry, my balloon's got a mind of its own. There we go. You don't want anything that's going to turn to brown particularly, although I did get away with using orange and blue earlier. So it's, with acrylic paint, it's not such a big deal, I don't think, with this. So you could choose 2 colours, 3 colours. I'm going to try 3. So I don't know whether you can see what I'm doing here. I'm just going to put some paint down in 3. Oh, if I can get into this one. Places. Oh, the lid is stuck well and truly. Let's see if I can prise it open with some brute force. I'm on the end of my tweezers. Yep. Goodness me, we're not going to... Let's get rid of that. Oh, look at that. Betsy Doodle, I'm not keeping that. I'm sorry. Sometimes I feel like posting them to you, I have to say. Right. There's a blob of pink. And I'm going a blob of yellow. But you can choose what you want to do and what colours you want if you want them for a particular project. Right, now I have found it helpful to squash that down a bit. Might help if I had something to wipe with my hand on as well afterwards. Just to even it out a little bit. You don't have to, but I just found it does help a little bit. Right, then we put the balloon in, dip it in. And the first few, look, there's the bottom of it. The first few might come out a bit with a bit of extra paint. It doesn't really matter. You just have to leave them to dry. Leave some space so that you can doodle around the outside and cut around them if you want to. And obviously, the more you press it down, the bigger the balloon, the bigger the surface area and the bigger the flower. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing, but literally I'm just using it to print. Running out of paint now, but that will do us. And if you don't like some of them, like the first one, you can always go back over it. Sometimes you can, you know, make them bigger or whatever you want, really. Right, and you can keep your balloon, you can wipe it with a wet cloth or a baby wipe, or I'm just using some kitchen roll here, I'm not really that fussed. But you can do that, and then you'll need to leave these to dry because they're quite thick with paint. Okay, so that being said, I have some that I've already done. These were done on mixed media paper, but I don't think it really matters. You want something fairly thick because you're going to cut it out and you want it to stand up. Now the next bit I do, you can use the balloon. I tend to just use my finger, but you could use anything you wanted to kind of print on it. I like to put like a biggish white bit in the middle. But again, you know, this is all open to interpretation. You do whatever you want to do. And the reason I do white is so that I can doodle around it easier if I want to. These are, I think I call them lollipop flowers because they look like lollipops. If you saw the cards, I think that's where Jessica had seen me with them. But yeah, just... Okay, that will do. That needs to dry. I might speed that up with a heat gun. Right, those are dry. I am now going to go in, and again you could stamp, you could use another tool. I'm going to use my finger because that's what I've got, and I'm going to try and just put a centre in the flower, and you can choose a yellow one, whatever colour you like, but I'm just going to, and you can do it as large or small as you like. I'm going to do these like this, and again that's going to need to dry before I even think about doodling around it. Right, the paint is quite thick. I don't think it's fully dry, but it will do for now, for me anyway. What was I going to say? You saw me drying it from the back there because otherwise this paint will blister if I keep at it from the front, and that where there's lots of paint, that will just blister up. Ideally, you'll just leave that to dry, but you know me and my lack of patience. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut... I wouldn't normally cut these out yet. Okay, I'm cutting them. Let's go for those. Let's go for those two. I'm going to cut these two out because I want those to dry naturally. In fact, I might even just cut them. I think I'm going to stick my wrist on them otherwise. Let me just remove this paint because I think I'm going to stick my hand in that as well if I'm not careful. Hopefully will do. Now you need a marker pen of some kind. You can use a thick Sharpie, like one of those, excuse me, or they're ultra fine Sharpies, or these pens, I don't know what they're called, Uniball Airs. They're pretty good at going over everything. So let's have a look at what we can do with this. So if it was dry in the middle, you could doodle on that. But since it's not, I'm going to... What shall I do? I mean, you literally can do anything you like. I'm just going to draw around it. But I'm not going to do it once. I'm going to do it twice and deliberately make sure that I make some gap like that. And it doesn't matter if it's a circle or not. I would usually, if I was doing it, I would colour those in like stripes, but you can do your own design. You don't have to do it like this at all. You could just doodle around it a couple of times. I really like the black and white stripe effect. That's why I do it. Something like that. And then I'm going to go around the outside, not quite around the outside, but really close. And I'm going to go around again, and you know, it's not going to be perfect. And if you go over the line again, use it to your advantage. Colour it in, make stripes, whatever you like doing. So I'm doing it really quickly here, but that's something. And ideally, if this is nice and dry, you can add things to that as well. So like we could add some bits like this. Depends how quirky you want them to look, or whether or not you want them to look like real flowers. You can, you know, you can do what you like. Yeah, I think that's almost done. Squeeze it. No, haha. Just watch the nibs of your pen. Wait for it to dry. Otherwise, that might end up being a bit. You could damage the nib of your pen. So this one, I'm just going to draw some circles going round. Could put a dot in them if you wanted to. You could have some I don't know what these are called, anthers, something like that. I mean, that's the whole point of these flowers. You can literally do what you fancy. Something like that. I'm going to draw around it again, very roughly, not thinking about it too much. And if you do two lines, then it looks deliberate. If you're trying to do a circle and it's not quite a circle, just go round again. If you cross over, it really doesn't matter. It just makes it look more like that's what you intended. And who's to know what you intended? So I will just go around the edge like that, but you get the idea. You just have a play. It's quite therapeutic. You can make your balloon flowers one day, and then you could decorate them the next. That's what I did. I had a lovely afternoon catching up on videos, making these little flowers. I've now got loads of them. I don't really know what to do with them. How to use them, well, that's a whole other video, I reckon. Right, something like that. Then, I am going to do this on camera, but hopefully I won't lose a finger. Let me find my scissors. There they are. I'm really not very good at cutting out, as you know. So, I leave. You do it your way, but I'm leaving a white rim. It doesn't matter that there's a bit of paint over there. No one's going to see it. Just leave a little rim all the way around the outside. Something like that. And then you've got your own balloon or lollipop flowers, however you want to use them. I like putting a black and white stem on them, but you can, experiment. You can cut stems, don't have to doodle them, but it really is that simple. And if you haven't got a balloon and you still want to do it, make circles with a brush. You can have 2 colours, 3 colours, whatever you want. Make circles with a brush, or get messy and pop your finger in and just do, you know, 3 bits around like that, however you fancy it. Anyway, those are my very quick. You can also go over it, she says before she goes, in white. So you could doodle in the middle if you wanted to. You could just doodle. They don't have to be. I'll show you actually. I'll do very quickly because I suddenly realised I've done 2 very similar things, but you don't actually have to do them like that. Oops, the other one's on the floor now. Let's take this one and I'll just show you briefly. I always forget this till after I've done. But you could start with something like this, like that, and then you could do petals. They don't have to stay as circles like lollipop flowers. You can do them anyhow you like. But I nearly always forget to do this till after I've shown anybody. So, and again, you can doodle it, not doodle it, stamp on it. I mean, you could stamp on the coloured bit before you do anything. You know, the possibilities are endless. Something like that. I think that's a bit wet in the middle. Let's just do that. I'm not going to doodle in the centre, but you could do that, and then you could use your scissors and just make them into more sort of flowery shapes if that's what you wanted. Again, I tend to leave a gap around, something like that. In fact, what I tend to do is cut around it as a circle, leaving a tiny amount like that. That's the easiest way for me to cut, and like I'm not very coordinated with scissors, so something like that. And then you can just come in either side, cut out the triangle, but you can cut it. If you're good at cutting, you can cut it anyhow you like. If you're not very good at doodling, but you've got like a flower stamp, you could stamp over the circles and use that as your guide to cutting out. If you've got stamps and dies that match, you could use the stamps and the dies to help you cut them out. You know, use what you've got. And if you haven't got anything else, use your fingers and use a pen. There you go. So that's another way of doing them if you don't like the lollipop flowers. In fact, I might make some more like that because I've got loads of these. I forgot I should make some more like that. Anyway, that's it for balloon flowers. Hope you enjoyed that, and it clarifies some things when you know, people are not sure, when I talk about things as though everybody knows, you know, all balloon flowers, but I forget not everybody knows everything. I know everybody doesn't know everything. I forget people are not sure. If you've not seen this sort of technique before, it's been going around quite a while, but if you're fairly new to crafting and YouTube videos, you perhaps wouldn't know. Anyway, that's my take on balloon flowers. Thank you for watching. Stay safe and well, and I'll be back in my next video. Bye for now.